Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we are going to be recovering my best settings here in Modern Warfare 2. So every single season, as I gain more and more subscribers, I get a bunch of questions regarding what exactly my settings are, and I feel the need to cover them for those people who have not had a chance to see them. For those that are already familiar with my settings, they haven't changed. Feel free to skip ahead to the gameplay if that's what you're looking for. Without further ado, let's jump into them. So I'm going to be pretty quick with this because there's really not that much to cover. There's a couple important settings that I'm going to make sure I touch on, but a lot of them are going to be preference based. So I'm on controller if you guys didn't know that. So if you're like a mouse and keyboard player, I'm sorry, I'm probably not the person you should be watching. So we're going to start here with just basic sensitivities. I have mine set at 8.8. That's my comfort spot. I suggest you go into custom games, start really high and work your way down to find your exact comfort spot. If your sensitivity is too high, you're going to be missing a lot of shots, but if it's too low, you're not going to have the ability to snap onto enemies. So again, this is a preference based thing, but that's my recommendation. Make sure you head into custom games. For my sensitivity multipliers, I have all of these set at 1. I don't see any of these being all that important. Sliding down here to the gameplay tab, there is the automatic sprint option. I highly recommend you have this on either automatic tactical sprint or just automatic sprint in general. It's going to save your controller a ton of wear and tear. I'm actually experiencing it now where your controller is going to have trouble as far as sprinting and stick drift because you're going to be button jamming so much. So I'd highly recommend turning on either automatic tactical sprint or automatic sprint. I personally like to run auto tac sprint here as I'm not really jamming my controller whatsoever. And I'm sure many of you have developed that problem, especially with the tactical sprint era of Call of Duty. So we're heading over to the advanced tab in the controller options, and you're going to want your target aim assist turned on, and you're going to want your aim assist type at default. You have a couple of different options here. Black Ops used to be the go-to option, but they nerfed that back in, I believe, season 1 or 2. And default became the next best option. And what you're going to want to do is compare your aim response curve type with your aim assist, and you're going to want dynamic. That's going to help you a lot in your rotational aim assist while you're strafing. It's going to more or less help you be accurate. It's extremely strong when you pair up dynamic and default here. So we're heading into our ADS sense multiplier. I have my focus, which is just your normal iron sights or reflex sight. I have that at 0.8. That seems to be my sweet spot there. While I'm aiming and strafing, it tends to drag along my enemies extremely well and kind of stick in a way. For the other ones there, I know there's like customs. I don't have any of these touch other than low zoom, which is also set at 0.8. My 2 to 3 times is also at 0.8, but I never really run more than a 3-time scope there. So in the advanced tab is where you're going to find your input dead zones, and honestly, this one is going to be based on your personal controller. There's plenty of videos that explain dead zones. If your controller is drifting to the right or left, or you're having trouble sprinting, or your controller is moving forward automatically, this is where you can adjust it, and it should more or less fix exactly what's going on with your controller. It's just going to be based on what exactly is wrong with it. As you can see, my controller is not too bad right now. I have it, I believe, just set at the standard what it's set at. I'm sure I'm going to have to make changes as my controller gets older. I would definitely recommend looking up an input dead zone video if you are having trouble with stick drift. So as far as gyro aiming, I get a lot of mixed opinions about this. I personally don't run it. I don't find it being very beneficial in Call of Duty. None of the pros run gyro aiming. In fact, one ran it by accident and got absolutely crapped on. So I guess this is honestly a preference-based thing, but I have everything that has to do with gyro aiming just turned right off. So I'm going to cover my graphic settings. I know a lot of my viewers are on console, and this really won't apply to you, but make sure you guys pay attention a bit because there are some settings that are going to affect your gameplay that are on both PC and console. So I'm going to quickly scroll here through my settings. So if anybody that is on PC wants to copy mine down, feel free to do so. Obviously, everybody's PC is different. Mine's a little more powerful than most, I would say. But that being said, you know, I tend to like my game look a little better. I don't like all of my settings on extremely low stuff. I like my game to look pretty good while I'm playing. But like I said, for those console players, there are some settings here that I'm going to cover with you guys that are important. It's going to make your game look significantly better. And we're starting here at the bottom. You're going to want to make sure you have depth of field, world motion blur, and weapon motion blur turned right off. Yes, it's more of a realistic looking thing, but you're not playing the game for realism. You're playing the game to do well, and you're playing the game to get better. Let's be honest there. Make sure you guys turn your motion blur off. With that blur on, you could end up missing enemies because that blur is just going to make things just much harder to see. In your film grain, you're going to want turned down all the way to 0. For some reason, it kind of puts like a visual noise or a bit of a graininess when you turn this up. I don't know why this is even an option in this game. It makes your game look absolutely horrendous. So we're heading over here to the field of view. This is also something that applies to consoles. I have my field of view at 110. I know a lot of pros like to sit in between 95 and 105. 110 seems to be my sweet spot. I don't feel like 120 is actually very beneficial in multiplayer. You're not playing large enough maps that you really have to worry about someone being in your, you know, all the way to your left. It's everything's going to be more or less directly in front of you. 110, like I said, is my sweet spot, but this is going to be, again, a preference thing. You're going to want to make sure your ADS field of view is unaffected. So it's going to be closer to the value of magnification. Independent, it kind of keeps the FOV the same. If you had your FOV at 120 and you aim down the sights, your FOV is going to stay at 120. What this does is significantly reduces your visual recoil. Then you're going to be heading down here to your camera, and you're going to want it first person and third person, depending on if you play the third person mode. You're going to want this set at least. You're going to want this. It's going to cause your character to not do as much sporadic movements that you see while you're basically running around the map, jumping. It's going to reduce your visual recoil once again. So that's all of my graphic settings there. So in audio here, there's really not much to cover. Obviously, a lot of console players don't have access to a lot of these options, but the one thing I did want to make sure you cover is the audio mix. I run headphone bass boost. This really kind of pins down exactly where my enemies are coming from. I get a very good idea. Are they coming from my left, right? Are they above me? This is where I've found the most success with this game. I've experimented with absolutely all of them, and headphone bass boost is definitely where I like to be. And heading into your master volume, I have mine at 74. That's preference. I don't like getting my eardrums blown out, but you're going to want to make sure you have your gameplay music volume just completely off. That's the music that's going to be in game. Yeah, it cool. It makes it more intense, whatever. But you're going to miss very important sound cues if you keep your gameplay music on. So I would highly recommend turning that off. Obviously, some people like your cinematic music, which is just like your in-game or your main menu music. You can keep that on if you want. I personally like to turn it off, but your gameplay music, you're definitely going to want that turned off. So the last thing I'm going to be covering here as far as settings go is going to be interface settings. And as always, this is the most asked question on my channel, and that is the color customization. How do I make my enemies green? So you're going to want to copy these down. So you're going to want your color filter set at 2. You're going to want the color target filter set at both. And then you're going to want the intensity of both world and interface set at 100. That's going to give you the most vibrant option. And from there, you can go down to your HUD color palette and go to custom. You can choose whatever colors you want. But for reference, if you want to copy it down, which is yourself, obviously I've set it yellow. My team, I have set it blue. If I'm playing in a party, I have my party member set at a lighter blue so I can distinguish between them and a random player on my team. My enemies, I have set it green. That tends to pop out the most for me. It always has. Even back in Cold War Vanguard, green has always tended to stood out a lot more than the red, believe it or not. Even though green kind of stands as like a positive, I feel like green definitely stands out much more. For the neutral, that being like a flag, I just have that set at white or a hard point. Yeah, and the last one there, I didn't mean to hit back, is the contested. If you're on a hard point or you're on a flag, just yellow. I believe that's the stock as that comes. There's actually one more thing here in the interface that I forgot to cover. It's the minimap shape. I believe that comes as a circle. Make sure you change that over to a square. And your mini-map rotation's on. The square is actually a larger mini-map than the circle. Obviously, that makes sense. So make sure you change that over to square. Make sure your rotation is on. So make sure you guys go down in the comment section if you have any questions. I'll be sure to answer the ones that I have good answers for. I'm extremely excited to be running it up here in Season 5. We have 5 new weapons coming, some banger maps as it looks, including Strike. This is looking like a pretty promising season overall. Hopefully it revives the player base a bit, and hopefully we get a bunch more coming in Season 6 in Modern Warfare 3. Let's get over into the gameplay. As promised, make sure you guys watch that through. You guys get a good look at exactly how I play and how I utilize these settings. Hope you guys enjoy. So I kind of suckered in and bought this ISO freaking Hemlock blueprint. I'm not happy with myself, but it looked too cool to pass up, and I had COD points on my account. So it's not like I went out and spent more money on the game. I already had the COD points. I'm like, you know what? I want that. Looks cool. That being said, I'm glad I bought it. It also gives me a reason to use the Hemlock. Because even though those weapons got nerfed a lot, I still really like the thing. Dang, everybody, I can't wait for them to nerf shotguns again. I know they only buffed them because the new shotgun was out, but I can't wait for them to freaking nerf them back into the ground.
Taking effective fire. Enemy is close. Ready for tasking.
They going there? Where are they going? Okay.
Next hard point. Stand by. Approaching from the rear.
The past couple times I've played this map,
Requesting recon flyover.
the game has ended super quickly. Like my team just kind of stomps.
Enemy personnel at the hard.
Enemy is down.
This game is looking looking a little different. It looks like this team has some objective pushback in them. So happy to see that.
Changing mag.
Online. Hard point relocated.
Changing mag.
I just wanted to get a quick gameplay here. Just kind of feature my new blueprint, to be honest. There's not much else to it. There's not much else to it. I don't even know if the attachments are good. Only thing I changed was the underbarrel. Yeah, but everything else is just stock.
Changing mags.
Shock stick. Switching back.
Reloading.
Okay. I don't think I want to hit this advanced UAV just yet. I am on a 20, but
Requesting air support.
Vandal 3-1 inbound. Weapons hot.
Hard point compromised. Secure the area. Locating the next hard point. Get ready.
hit this now.
Requesting recon flyover.
X-ray spotted.
Inside the point relocated. Secure the
One
target
dead.
area. Enemy hard point.
Have visual on a target.
Target down. Changing mag.
They spawn behind me. Got to turn around here.
Hostile acquired.
Drop the sniper.
I'm gonna get on my rotation towards the next objective here. I don't think I'm gonna have the.
Halfway to mission. Stay
Fuel.
Target's down.
I don't think I'm gonna have enough time here on my advanced UAV. Nope, advanced UAV is gone. Oh, there it is. Okay, no worries on that front then. I thought I needed a few more kills.
Friendly UAV on station.
Yeah, I got this close range weapon in case they want to push me close range here.
Reloading.
Area. Friendly SAE on the way. We've got him on the run. Keep it up.
Loading.
Not a fan of fire shotguns normally, but that thing's not too bad.
Changing mag.
I don't like the fire shotgun strictly because it actually takes away damage range that people don't realize.
Reloading.
Like that's one of the big underrated things that people don't realize is that the fire shotguns take away your damage range, believe it or not.
Enemy personnel at the hard.
It's not like Modern Warfare 2019. It's actually much more significant.
Ready to deploy.
Changing mag. Requesting recon flyover.
Copy that. UAV online and over.
Incoming.
I might end up just hitting the nuke here. They had a bunch of them leave the game.
Locating the next hard point. Get ready. Linda, got one. Passing
Dropping ammo here.
One just joined, so that's a start.
Target area updated. Move to the hard point. Overwatch helo ready.
Gotcha.
Tasking.
Tagged me. Switching mags.
Well, I got my helo. I'm gonna let this do its thing, and then I'll probably change. End the game. That's what I meant to say. Wow, I just got insta-killed.
Personnel at the hard
Homeboy. Oh, it was a Cronin Squall, so he probably hit the 2-shot on me. Let's just hit the nuke here. I got no thumbs. We're digging that. Quick gameplay. This is, like I said, this has been happening.
Hard point relocating. Stand by.
And 55 kills. That was a really quick game, man, but I think I did a pretty good job featuring it there.